Hi, my name is Deniz Emre Tatar. I'm gonna introduce you my research project. Introduction part, here it is. This presentation explains how house prices vary based on their distance from the metro. As the distance from the metro increases, house prices also increase. As a result of analysis conducted in different regions, I aim to explain how house prices are influenced by proximity to the metro and how they are priced accordingly. This can help inform housing policy, economic planning, and assist individuals searching for a home. This is the report. Here is mean, here is standard deviation, sample size, degrees of freedom, t-score, 95 confidence interval, margin of error. This is it. Here are the documents. The price, room, and the distance information collected from the Şişli and Kağıthane districts of Istanbul is presented in the table on the next slide. The reason I choose Kağıthane and Şişli is due to their relatively affordable price range and the abundance of metro stations in these areas. Here is the documents. I pick 28 houses and their price according to their distance. Here is the minimum price and distance here. First quartile, median, mean, third quartile, and maximum. Linear regression, I'm gonna describe linear regression to you. Linear regression is a statistical method used to model the relationship between a dependent and one or more independent variables, aiming to predict or explain the behavior of the dependent variable based on the independent ones. As we see in the next slide, this graph is right-skewed graph or positively skewed. The systematic deviation of the points above and below the line indicates that the data deviates from a normal distribution. Here is the QQ plot of housing price. This is the linear regression table for me. This is the histogram of housing price. What is ANOVA? ANOVA stands for analysis of variance. It is used to determine whether there are statistically significant differences between the means of two or more independent groups. Purpose of ANOVA: to find out if it's the difference in group means statistically significant or due to random chance. This is how we use an analysis of what we found. To define whether housing prices differ significantly according to the proximity to public transportation. The distance variable categorized into three groups: near, under 1 kilometer; medium, 1 or 2 kilometers between; and far, more than 2 kilometers. This group's visualized as a box plot in figure 3. You're gonna see the figure 3. A one-way ANOVA was used and had an outcome of this, which is meaning that there is statistically significant difference among the groups. This means that at least one distance group has significantly different average housing price. These findings show that homes closer to public transportation tend to have significantly higher price than the homes located farther away from metro. This is confidence interval for mean housing price. In order to estimate the real average housing price with certain level of confidence, a 95% confidence interval was calculated. In the analysis based on 28 housing lists and the average prices, the sample was found 304, 328. And the standard deviation was found 1,392,93,737. According to that, we can be 95% confident that the true average housing price for similar 1+1 apartments is between this interval. This is the code that I found. What is non-parametric test? A non-parametric test is a type of statistical test that does not assume a specific distribution for the data, such as normal distribution. These tests are often used when the data is not normally distributed. That's why we use this test. The sample is small. The data is ordinal, ranked, or not measured on an interval scale. Which non-parametric test we use? Mann-Whitney U test. It means compares two independent groups. Wilcoxon sign rank test. This compares two related samples. Kruskal-Wallis test. This compares more than two independent groups. Spearman's rank correlation. This measures relationship between ranked variables. That's what we found in Kruskal and Wilcoxon. Conclusion. The purpose of this study was investigate whether distance to public transportation significantly affects housing price based on the conducted analysis. The housing price decreases as distance to public transportation increases. There was a strong negative correlation observed, and as seen from the regression model, distance alone explains over 80,000, no 80,000, 80% of the variation in price. These results support the initial hypothesis. The implications of these research are especially beneficial for real estate investors. Prioritizing access to public transportation in city development may lead to higher housing values. For future research, larger and more diverse samples should be considered, including different apartment aids and locations. Additional variables could be beneficial for understanding what influences house pricings. This is references. Thank you for listening to me.